we have one requirement where we need to call one third-party API, and that third-party API is secured by auth token. Okay, so to call this API, what we need to do? First, we need to call their OAuth API, okay, their authorization API, which will give us either OAuth token or JWT token. We'll use that token here in this call. Then we will get success response and we will send that response back to calling system. Now, immediately after 1 minute, like I want to call that API again for same user. So can anyone tell me, do we need to call this OAuth API again?
I think it's purely depends on how much time the token expiration time. If it is like more than like 1 minute, then you don't need to call again.
Yeah, so generally like OAuth token like will be valid for a few minutes. Okay, let's assume it's valid for 15 minutes.
In that case, I think you don't need to call again. No need to
Okay,
call.
if we don't need to call it here, this call will happen in separate thread and this call will happen in separate thread. Okay, so how they will exchange this token? You know, like if thread will change, then if it here we have separate thread, then these two are not completely connected through each other. Okay, so how we will pass that JWT token to this particular transaction, this particular thread?
Um, we can use catch.
Yes, correct. So we can, what we can do here, we can use cache. Okay, so that's fine. Like we will use cache, but what exactly it will do? Like what cache will do?
It will store the token in object store.
In object store. Okay, correct. So what we will do here, so instead of configuring like this, whenever we are making OAuth call, okay, we will put that OAuth call inside cache component. Okay, so first time, like request will come first time, then it will check, okay, for this particular user, do we have OAuth token or not? If not, then what it will do, it will do actual call, this call. But if token is there, then what it will do, it will take that value from cache. Okay. Now, so first time definitely there will not be token. So it will take token and it will means it will call, it will make an actual call, means OAuth API token, OAuth API call. But second time when it will call, it will see this object store has their token. Means for inside this cache, it will check and it will see that object store has the token. And what we need to do, so we need to like for this particular token, what we have stored inside object store, we should not store for longer time since that token will expire. Okay, let's say here we are making a call and we are getting that token. So what we will do, since this token, like let's assume this token is expiring in 15 minutes. So what we will do, we will get that token and we will store only for 10 minutes. Okay, so if we are making that call, this call, second call, within 10 minutes, we will get token from this object store. And if that token is, means if once it will complete 10 minutes, that will be deleted. That token will be deleted from object store. So if you are making within 10 minutes, then you will get from object store, you will get from cache, you will not do actual call. But if you are making after 10 minutes, then you have to make this call again. Okay, everyone clear on this part? So this is the one use case where we are using this temporary storage object stored inside our Mule application. Everyone clear with this first use case? Then I will go for second. Okay, hope everyone clear. Second use case we have, okay, let's say this is our Mule application. Okay, now this is scheduler based. We have one scheduler here. Okay. This scheduler will start our Mule application. Okay, and now here we will make a database call. Let's say we are making here DB call to fetch records. Okay, and then we are inserting somewhere. Let's say we are calling third-party system to process those records. Okay, so we have requirement. We need, like, once scheduler will run, we will call database, and whatever records we will get, we will call this third-party system to insert in third-party system. Okay. Now here, like, what I want to do, whenever I am making this DB call, I don't want to call, means I don't want to fetch all the record, means I don't want to fetch duplicate records. Okay, let's say when I run this last time, I fetched records having like a transaction ID something. So last time I'm fetching on transaction ID. Okay, so transaction ID is in sequence, and last time I fetched transaction ID till 1023. So this time, means once this scheduler will run again, I want to fetch from 1024. Okay, and once this second processing will complete, let's say we process from 1024 to 8767. Okay, first time we fetched 0 to 1024, 1023. So when it will run first time, when we process 0 to 1023, second time we need to start from 1024 to 8767. So can anyone tell me how it will be possible to process record after this 1024, since it will run in separate thread? It will not have memory of what we processed in last transaction. What we will do? Hope everyone clear with the requirement. Now we need to achieve this requirement. So what all additional thing we need to do here in this API? Means we need to add two additional component here. So can anyone give idea like what should be those component and how we will configure those component?
So
First
we
of all,
need,
like, okay, sorry, go ahead.
sorry, yeah, like we need to give the interval, the boundary values for each thread.
No, but thread, how, means when we will initiate the thread, how we will come to know boundary value? We don't know. Once we will make DB call, then we will come to know, okay, from database, we got till 1023.
Right.
Until unless we will not make DB call, we will not have idea how many records we will get.
Okay.
Can you explain the question, Ravi?
Okay. Yeah. So we have here scheduler. Okay. We are calling once scheduler will start, we are calling this database. So first time definitely like we haven't processed, so it will start from 0. And in database, whatever records are there, whatever transaction are there, we will fetch all the transaction. Okay. So let's say we had 1023 transaction number from 0 to transaction number 1023 was there. So we fetched all the record and we processed this third party system. Now means our requirement is there, we should not process duplicate transaction. So second run, what should happen? We should process after 1023. So we should start from 1024 and till whatever records are there. So let's say this time 8767 records are there. So we processed all those records. We fetched all those records, we processed. Now next time it should start from 8768. Since till 67 we already processed. So in next scheduler, it should start from here and whatever, let's say here 10,000 records are there. So it will process till 10,023. Okay. So we have to process in this way. So what additional component we need here to achieve this requirement? Okay, like I'm just giving one hint. Anyone has heard about this
Check.
watermarking?
Yeah, it's watermarking. You have to do that so the records are not updated. You can set that as a
Yes.
configuration. Yes.
So in watermarking, what we do, we just monitor like what we have done till last execution. Okay, so we will watermark that value. So can anyone tell me what component we will use here to achieve that watermarking and where exactly we will place that component? Okay, so here we need to do watermarking. So first watermarking we will do at this place. Okay, so first watermarking we will do at this place and second watermarking we will do at this place. So here, what we will do, we will fetch the last process record. Whenever we will start the processing, we will fetch the last process record. So in second run, when we will run this, when we will call this, so we will get last process record is 1023. So what we will do, we will automatically start from 1024. And once we will complete this processing, so what we will do, we will set here. Here we are fetching this last process record, and here we will set the last process record. So in this case, what will be our last process record? 8767. So we will set here 8767. Now in next run, when it will call fetch, then we will get 8767. So what we will do, we will start from 8768. So again, what we will do, we will use object store where we will use set function and get function. So in object store, we have two operations for retrieve and for store. Here we will use store retrieve function of object store. And here we will use store operation of object store. Okay. And this particular process is known as watermarking. There are like many business scenario will be there when you will start working in your project where you need to use watermarking. Okay, If you will not do watermarking, then it will keep processing the duplicate record. So you need something which can store the last process record and you can use in like next run. Everyone clear with this or?
Yeah, can you show us using the component in Studio, Ravi, if you don't mind?
Yeah. Okay. Okay, fine. So here you can see, let me clean everything. So first component, what we will do, we will use scheduler. Let it be default one only. And then we need to make database call. So we have database call select. And then we will call one HTTP requester to process, or maybe we can use batch processing or something. That's fine. Now here, before making this database call, we need to give transaction ID should be greater than this. So how we will store or how we will get that value from last transaction? So for that, we will use object store. In this object store, here we want to retrieve. First, we want to retrieve. Okay, so we will use retrieve operation. Okay, so this operation, what we need to do, we need to give key value name. So we will give watermarked column name. Key name we can give anything. So we can give watermark column name. Okay, and then once we will complete this processing. Okay, so what we will do, we will use store operation. So what this operation will do, same key name, watermark column name, we will set here, and we will give here count of last record. Okay, let's say it's a 8767. So we will put here 8767. Okay, now you will say in first time, like when we will do this first call, then this will not have any value since we haven't stored, so there will not be any retrieve. So this will fail. In very beginning, it will fail. Since there is no key with this, there is no key with this name in object stored. So definitely it will fail first time. Okay. So for that, you can sit here. Default value will be. Let me quickly check. Let me quickly configure with a dummy value only. I just want to check one thing. Okay, for that, what I can do now, instead of setting everything, for now, let me comment this. What I want to show you, like what will happen in first case, since there is no key with this name when we are running this scheduler first time. From second time onward, we are storing, so definitely there will be that key. But first time, that key will not be there. So let me see this default value will work or not. If it will work, then well and good. If not, then we will do some kind of error handling, okay, to generate first value. Okay. Okay, so process started. It's calling this one. Okay, it seems it hasn't stored this logger one. Okay, so means in last deployment, this logger was not deployed. Let me change this frequency also. This is every 1 second, so it's very fast. Okay, so you can see here by default value is coming as a 0. This key is not there in watermarked. Like this key we haven't stored inside object store, but still when we are retrieving value from there, we are getting as a 0. So we can set this default value equals to 0. So it will support your first execution. Okay. Otherwise, if you will not set this default value, you will get error. Okay. So your process will not able to initiate. And from second time onward, whatever value you will store here. Okay. What we can do, let's uncomment this one. So here, let's set this value as a 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. So now So we will get default value equals to 0. Then we did this logging, we stored that value. Okay. Now if we go for second time, so here you can see we are getting 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. Now when you will do database call, you will write query in such a way, select employee, select star from employee where employee ID greater than this 1, 2, 3, 4. So it will fetch all the employee having ID greater than this. Everyone clear with this? So here what we are doing, this retrieve and store, this two component is doing watermarking process. And again, which can be possible with the help of object store. Anyone has any doubt, you can ask quickly. Okay, so this part is fine. Now, can anyone tell me? So we already discussed what is clustered environment. Okay, so let's say we have this in clustered environment. Okay, now there may be possibility this particular request is coming to worker one. Okay, this request is coming to worker one. And this request is coming to worker two. So can anyone tell me how in this case, what additional settings we need to do to make this possible, like we are using this same cache to retrieve here. By default, what object store you will use? This object store will be separate, this object store will be separate. But I want to know what additional settings we need to do to make this two object store same. Anyone has any idea? Okay, everyone need to think on two part. First part will be this same. What additional settings we need to do to make this object store same, no matter if we are using clustered or horizontal scaling. And second one, even if our application will restart, okay, it may be possible like we stored this cache and our server got restart in within like 1 minute, but our this or token is valid for 10 minutes or 15 minutes. Then after server restart also that token should be valid. So what configuration we need to do, what setting we need to do to make this possible? One is that should be accessed by both the worker, same object store. And second one, even if server restart, we should keep getting the data from object store.
Object store v2 persistent data.
Yes, correct. So in which scenario we will use v2 and in which scenario we will use persistent store?
So if you need like even though the server restarts, suppose if you want like share the same multiple threads share the same like the information, then we will use um, object store v2. But even though your server restarts also, if still you need the data to be stored, then we need to go to the persistent storage.
Okay, yeah, it's correct only. So let's discuss in detail one by one. First one is object store v2. So yeah, can you tell me this part also, like why exactly what exactly object store v2 will do? So it will resolve that problem.
So object store v2 usually, like even though like in the cluster mode, like even though like the same worker like the different workers use the same storage, then in that case we need to use the object store v2.
No, yeah, that's fine. Means that
Yeah.
we are using if we have clustered or if we have horizontal scaling,
Yeah.
we should use object store v2.
Yes.
Okay. And that will resolve this problem. But how exactly? What exactly object store v2 do which help us to resolve this kind of problem?
The in detail, I don't know.
Okay. So what will happen in case of object store v2? Let's say this is your worker one, this is your worker two. So what object store v2 will do, sorry, object store v1 will do, it will create object store within your worker. This is the object store. Okay. This is one object store. This is another object store. No matter you are using horizontal scaling or you are using clustering. Okay. So what it will do, it will create same object store in both the worker. No, not same object store. It will create two object store in both worker. Okay. So when you are doing caching here, it will do caching inside this. It will fetch data from here. And if you will do caching here, it will fetch data from here. If you are storing here, so it will store inside this object store. If you are storing here, it will store data inside here. So if you have horizontal scaling or if you have multiple workers, then there may be possibility your object store is not synced. Let's say you got request for this worker on 10:10 and you got request for 10:15. So you means first time you are, if you are making first time request, you will call this OAuth API, you will get different token and you will store here. After 15 minutes, when you will call this one, since this will not able to find in this object store, since these two are different object store. So again, it will call this OAuth API, it will get token here and it will store here. So this, for same user, we will have two OAuth token. Okay. So if we have this kind of scenario, like where we are using clustered environment or horizontal scaling, our object store v1 will not work since object store v1 will be created inside the worker. So what we need to do, we need to create object store v2. Okay, so what will happen, object store v2, it will be created outside the worker and these two are same. No matter how many workers you have for same application, all of them will use same object store. So object store v2 will be created outside of your workers. That's why it can be shared by multiple workers. Now it clear? Any doubt on this part? Okay, no, then fine. Now this is like good for cloud of deployment model. Okay. Or even if you are using RTF, then this is good. Now what about on-premise deployment model? On-premise deployment model don't support this object store. Since this is object storage product of cloud hub. Okay. But on-premise, if you go for on-premise one, then there you will not, that is, you will use on-premise Mule runtime. So that doesn't support this cloud hub. Sorry, that doesn't support this object store. So what you will do if you want to store temporary data there? Any idea?
I think in that case we need to buy a cache solutions, third party
Yes,
solutions.
correct. So in market, we have multiple third party cache solution. Okay, just give me one.
Ravi, I didn't hear anything, Ravi.
Yes, just give me 1 minute.
Okay.
Yeah, sorry. I got one urgent call. Okay. So if we are using this on-premise deployment model, then there we don't like on-premise deployment don't support this uh, object store. So in that case, we should go with some third-party cache solution. Okay. So Redis is very famous third-party cache solution. So you can go with Redis cache. Okay. And there also you will get similar kind of operation and way of working. Okay. It's more advanced than this Mulesoft object store. Okay, but you will get almost similar kind of operation and similar kind of settings and everything. Okay, and even if you want to do practice, then you can set up Redis in your local also. So it will give you that particular Redis server software. You can run in your local and you can do all kind of testing and all. Okay, so hope everyone clear this temporary storage. Like mostly we use this temporary storage whenever you want to store some kind of temporary data like tokens value, JWT or some other token. Sometime you need to store OTP and all. At that time also we use this cache mechanism. Okay. And sometime you need to store watermarked value. Then also we do this object store. We use this temporary storage object store. Now in object store, as we mentioned, like whenever you will restart your Mule application, we will lose all the data from your object store. So to make ensure, even if server restart, we will not lose the data. So we should use this persistent object store. Okay. So we'll see one setup how we configure this object store. So you will get idea how we will configure and what all properties it support. I'm not sure in previous class, have we discussed about object store? So whenever you are configuring object store, you should have idea of all these properties in object store. Okay. So first one is persistent. You can see by default it's checked. So if you will uncheck this persistent one, if your server will restart, you will lose all the key value pair inside your object store. Okay, an object store always store data in the form of key value pair. You can store n number of records, but maximum size of each record should be less than 10 MB. That you can check in Mulesoft documentation also. Previously it was 10 MB, maybe if they have enhanced or if they did something. But you can store n number of key value pair, but one key value pair size should be less than 10 MB. Okay, that size you can double check in Mulesoft documentation. But what I can remember, what I have seen last, that was 10 MB. And if you will select this persistent store, no matter you are restarting your server, your data will be there until unless it's not expiring their interval. Okay. Here you can see maximum entries. How many key value pair you want to store maximum? That value you can give here. Time to live. Okay, this is this expiration time of your key value pair. Okay, object store will not store the key value pair for lifetime. If you are defining TTL, time to live, then it will store for that particular duration. If you are not defining this TTL, then by default is 30 days. Okay. If you will define TTL, then it will store for that particular duration. If you will not define, then it will store for 30 days by default. Okay. And after 30 days, you will lose that data. That's why we call this object store as a temporary storage, not permanent storage like database. So this is TTL and this is their unit, in which unit you want to configure TTL. Then expiration interval. Okay. So once this object stored key value pair will complete their TTL. So who will control or who will delete all those key value pair which has completed their TTL, time to live? Okay. So here we have one internal batch. Okay. So for batch processing, they have their internal scheduler. What this scheduler will do, whatever time you will be defining. Sorry. Let's say you are defining as a 5 minute. So in every 5 minutes, this batch will run. Okay. And it will check how many key value pair has completed their expiration time, or how many key value pair has completed their TTL. Okay. What all has completed their TTL? It will delete that internal batch managed by this object store, will delete those key value pair. So this expiration interval should be less than your TTL. Otherwise, there may be some record which has completed their TTL but is still there. So your expiration interval should be half of the TTL value. Then you will get a correct set of data. You will not have some data which should not be there. Okay, and this again unit, which unit you want to configure this expiration batch, and configuration reference. Okay, so here you will configure some kind of advanced setting, like what will happen in reconnection, like if it will fail in case of reconnection, how you want to handle it. Okay, so here you can see we have three mechanisms to handle reconnection. One is none. There will not be retry. If it will fail, fail. It will not retry to connect. Forever one, it will keep retrying for until you will not get success. In the gap of this 2 second, 2000 millisecond means 2 seconds. In the gap of 2 seconds, it will keep retrying. And standard one, you can configure how many times you want to retry. Okay, so this all settings you can do inside this configuration reference. Okay, and operation wise, this object store, as we discussed, Store will use to store key value pair. Retrieve will use to retrieve key value pair. Okay. Retrieve all will retrieve all the key value pair. Okay. Then remove will remove the key value pair. Okay. Contains will check that key value pair exists or not. It will clear all the key value pair from your object store. And it will retrieve all the key only. Okay, retrieve all will retrieve all the key value pair. Retrieve all keys only retrieve all the key from object store. Okay, so it supports this kind of operation. Any doubt? Any operation? But most of the time you will use this store and remove. Sorry, store and retrieve.
Yeah, Ravi, the persistence, could you please elaborate one more time, please?
Okay. So persistent, if you will select this persistent checkbox, what it will do? If you will select this checkbox, what it will do? Even if you will restart your server, Mule application, that data will be there. After restart also, it will start taking that same key value pair until unless that key value pair will not expire. Okay, but if you will not select this option, what will happen? If your server means your Mule application will restart, you will lose all the data key value pair. No matter it has completed their expiration time or not, you will lose all your data in case of non-persistent. Is it clear?
But for example, if we store the data or key value, suddenly if we receive a change in that key value, then in that case, if we click on the persistence, we need to update. In that case, will not happen, right?
Sorry, you want change. What change you want?
The key value.
You want to update that key value pair, correct?
Mm.
Yeah, then you need to store that key value pair.
Mm.
If you want to update, then again you need to store this key value pair.
Okay, okay, got it. Okay, we need to use a separate palette, right? The store palette, we need to use it. Am I right?
Object store, this is operation, not palette.
Mm.
This is the connector and this is their operation.
So if you
You
want
need
to store it, we need to use separate palette in that case. Am I right? And there it will maintain again the until the key value expire, it will store every time. So how it will, okay, we can store in the different palette, and for next time where it will be considered this one or old one.
Ravichala, I'm not clear with your question.
The question is like first we have to use the object store retriever. In that case, we
Yes,
have the key value pairs. We stored it, right?
we have key value pair, what we have stored already here, like in last execution. This retrieve will work once we will have some key value pair in object store. If not, then we have used this default value as a 0. So we will get this default value. If that key value pair exists, then it will give us value. If that key doesn't exist, it will give us default value as a 0. And if you
Okay,
want to update this, then you have to use store. So you can see here where here we use store to update this value.
okay, understood, understood, Ravi.
Okay, fine then. So we are done with this temporary storage. So I think we are good for today. Any query from anyone?
Ravi, I have one more question, Ravi.
Yes, yes.
Could you please area online data store? For example, I need to use the DB online DB. Do you have any reference like instead of online Oracle DB for temporary for a testing purpose? Do you have any site for that?
Yes, you can use this Clever Cloud.